They said no man must ever ask a goddess for love. But he saved the goddess and he asked for love. His name was Oda B. And from that single wish, his village lost its water, his family turned to ashes, and his name was cursed for generations. The drums of the forest carried Oda B's footsteps that night. He was not an ordinary hunter. His shoulders bore scars of the wild, his eyes sharp like the tip of his spear. In the village, men whispered of his bravery, women sang of his strength. Yet inside him lived something darker, an emptiness that no animal he killed, no wealth he gained, could ever fill. The moon was heavy, swollen in the sky, when he reached the riverbank. And there, where the water shimmered like liquid silver, he found her. A woman, yet not a woman. Her hair flowed like black waves, her skin glowing faintly against the dark water. She clutched her belly, swollen with child, her face twisted in pain. Oda B froze. The elders had warned. Never stare when the gods reveal themselves. But how could he look away? This was no mortal beauty. She was a mermaid, a goddess of the river. And she was dying to bring forth life. Her cry broke the silence. Oda B dropped his spear and rushed to her. "Hold on," he whispered, his voice trembling though he tried to sound firm. He had never delivered a child, let alone a child of water and mystery, but something in him refused to abandon her. He tore his wrapper into strips, wiped the sweat from her brow, whispered courage into her ears. The night was thick with fear, but his hands did not stop. Minutes stretched like hours. The forest grew still, as though every tree bent forward to watch. Finally, the cry of a newborn pierced the night. A child, with eyes that shimmered like river stones, slipped into the world. The mermaid gasped with relief, her voice weak but filled with power. "You have done what no man has ever dared. You helped a goddess in her hour of pain." Her gaze locked on Oda B. "By the waters that flow and the heavens above, make a wish, hunter. Any wish. And it shall be yours." Oda B's chest rose and fell. He knew the weight of her words. A god's promise was an oath stronger than iron. He swallowed, his heart racing. I must think." Her smile was tired, knowing. "Then return in 3 days. By this same river. Speak, and it shall be so." She vanished beneath the water, leaving only ripples that glowed faintly in the moonlight. For 3 days, Oda B's soul burned. He walked among his people, but his ears no longer heard their laughter, his hands no longer cared for his bow. The village praised him as he returned with game from the forest, but his mind was elsewhere. What does a man ask, when a god owes him everything? 3 days passed like a fever. And as the sun fell on the third evening, Oda B returned to the river. He stood by the water's edge, chest heaving, eyes hard. "River goddess," he called, voice deep, echoing. "Keep your word. Come forth." The water stirred. Slowly, she rose. Beautiful, radiant, otherworldly. She smiled faintly. "Speak, Oda B. Your wish is ready." He nodded. "Yes. But before I speak, swear again. Swear that you will grant me what I ask. No turning back. No refusal." She frowned. "I am bound by my oath." "Speak, and it shall be so." Oda B's eyes did not flinch. "Then hear me. I want you. As my wife." The river fell silent. Her smile died. For a moment, the air itself seemed to stop breathing. Then her voice, sharp, trembling with disbelief, cut the night. "Abomination. How dare you? A god cannot live under the same roof with a mortal. Choose another wish, Oda Bee. Ask for riches, kingdoms, power. Not this. But Oda Bee's jaw tightened, his voice stubborn. It is you, or nothing. I saved you. You swore. You are my wish. Her eyes darkened, sorrow swimming through them. She shook her head slowly. You know not the weight of what you demand. The river carried her anger in small waves that slapped the bank. Oda Bee did not blink. He had walked too far into this night to crawl back as a beggar. You ask for ruin, she said, voice low, edged with thunder. A god in a hut. A storm in a calabash. Choose gold. Choose long life. Choose a kingdom. I choose you, he said. Swear again. The current tightened around her. The water hissed like a warning. Then she lifted her gaze, and the moon obeyed, brightening her face. By the oath I made over Birthwater, I am bound. If you insist, you must carry the burden, not just the beauty. Hear my terms, hunter, and hear them with both ears. I hear, Oda Bee said. She lifted one finger. First. No fish in your mouth or in your compound. Not boiled. Not dried. Not shared by friend or stranger. If fins cross your doorway, the river will take back what it has given. A second finger. Second. A pot of water must stand beside me where I lay. 3 days out of 4, I stay under your roof. On the 4th day, I return to the river and sit in its heart till dusk. This is how the village will drink. Break this rhythm, and the river will crack. A third finger. Her eyes dimmed. Third. If I carry life again, it will not be a child of earth. It will be waterborne. Do not ask me to change what I am. She lowered her hand, and the last condition came like cold iron. Fourth. I cannot leave the village river longer than 3 days. If you chain me away, the river dries, the land coughs dust, and your people will curse your door. Oda Bee's jaw flexed once. Twice. I accept. You accept too quickly, she said. You swore, he replied. And I have given my word. Her eyes searched his, reading something hungry there. Then take me as you asked, Oda Bee. But remember this night. You will answer for it. The river darkened. A wind moved through the trees as if the forest itself signed the paper of their fate. They were wed without drums, under a moon that watched like a witness. No flutes. No dancers. Just a gourd of water, a strip of white cloth, and the whisper of leaves. Oda Bee tied the cloth on her wrist. She pressed the gourd to his lips. When he drank, the water tasted like rain after fire. He led her to the edge of the village by the narrow path no one used at night. In the distance, a dog barked once and hid its face. He opened his gate quietly. Inside his compound, the fire in the cooking hut had died to embers. He set a new pot by the mat he had laid for her. Clear water. Still surface. It shivered without a hand touching it. 3 days here, he said, as if reminding himself. 1 day in the river. She nodded and lay down like a wave folding itself. The village will drink, she whispered. If you keep me whole. He sat beside her with his spear across his knees. He did not sleep. He watched her breathing. He listened for footsteps at the gate. He thought of the oath like a rope around his chest. Beat, at dawn, roosters cried, and the new day found them bound and quiet. By midday, the first knock came. It was Ojo, his hunting friend, a man with laughter in his voice and suspicion in his eyes. "Brother," Ojo called, "share palm wine. Tell me what kept you from the hunting path yesterday." Odabi stepped out, closing the door behind him with his body. "I tracked a boar. It ran me hard." Ojo grinned and lifted a leaf-wrapped bundle. "Then eat. Smoked tilapia from the river. Soft as praise. Your teeth will thank you." The smell reached for Odabi like a hand. His stomach clenched. The oath tightened. "I cannot," he said. "I am fasting." Ojo's smile thinned. "Since when does the forest champion fast from river blessing?" His eyes slid past Odabi's shoulder toward the inner hut. "Who are you hiding?" "No one," Odabi said. "Too fast. Too sharp." Ojo laughed, but his laugh did not ring. "When you are ready to share, I will listen." He left the fish near the threshold. For later, he added, and walked away. Day 2 under his roof, the pot beside her never emptied. She sipped and it refilled. Odabi washed his hands and the sheen came back. He poured some on the dirt and it rose to the brim again like a miracle that refused to tire. He kept the door shut, kept the world out, and the room became a secret throat that swallowed time. At dusk he sat with her, and she told him simple things in a voice that sounded like rain on a zinc roof. How the river remembers every foot that steps into it, how it carries the people's songs to the big water far away, how it grows jealous when men carve nets that bite too deep. He listened, trying to hold all of it. She reached for his hand and he did not pull away. For a moment, greed looked like love. On the third night, he cleaned his spear and laid it down, remembering her fourth condition like a drumbeat: she cannot leave the village river longer than 3 days. "Tomorrow," he said, "we go to the river." "Only me," she corrected gently. "You will wait on the bank. You must not step into the heart where I sit." He nodded, though the nod was heavy. Word moved through the village like fine dust. Odabi had closed his door to all, and water cellars were quiet because the river ran fuller than usual, sweeter than usual, as if the source had been kissed. The old women at the market noticed. "The river laughs today," one said. "Someone has pleased it." Another replied, "Or chained it." On the 4th day, at first light, Odabi led her back via the hidden path, a cloth pulled over her head. The river breathed them in. She stepped onto a rock in the middle and sat as the current folded around her waist. The water hummed. Fish circled like guards. "Go," she said softly. "Return at dusk." Odabi did not like leaving. He paced the bank like a dog that has found a bone too large to carry. Every rustle was a threat. Every ripple a warning. He leaned forward again and again, wanting to step in, to claim more, to prove to himself this was all real. The 5th day. The 6th. The 7th. Routine formed like clay. 3 days within, 1 day without. No fish. No parties. Quiet laughter. Quiet fear. They learned each other's rhythms the way a drummer learns where to strike without looking. The chief priest stood by the bank one afternoon, chewing a stick thoughtfully. "The river's heart is warm," he murmured. "As if someone is sitting in it." Ojo returned with new bait wrapped in leaves. "Not fish," he promised with a grin too bright. "Just stories. Men say you fear the river now. Men say you carry a ghost at night." Odabi's lips were dry. "Men talk because their mouths are empty. They also say the chief will soon ask who is blessing the water," Ojo said, eyes narrowing. "And the answer will bring gifts. Or curses. At night, the river wife, his wife, traced a line on the mat with her wet finger. Secrets grow legs, she warned. They do not walk. They run. I will hold them, Odabi said, chest swelling with a promise he had no hand to deliver. No one will touch you. She watched him, reading the thin threads of pride in his voice. Do not make a fight with the world, she said. Make a life with me. He nodded. One morning, a boy ran through the market shouting that a fisherman had pulled a net so heavy he thought he had caught the moon. The river had been generous. Blessings. People clapped hands. They sang. By noon, the chief sent for Odabi. The messenger did not smile. Odabi stood in the shade of the Irako as the chief spoke. The elders sat like stones. Hunter, the chief said, your steps are deep in the forest. Your arrows do not miss. But there is another story carrying your feet. The river is strange. It grows fat and kind and then quiet and watchful. Men whisper your name near the bank. Should we be thanking you? Or warning you? Odabi's throat tightened. The eyes around him were sharp as thorns. He felt the oath on his tongue, pressing against his teeth. Chief, he said slowly, I am a hunter, not a priest. The river runs where it wants. A murmur. Not pleased. Not convinced. The chief priest leaned forward, the whites of his eyes bright. If a man made an oath with water, the water will hold him like a rope. If a man tied a god to his bed, the god will bless and bleed. We will soon know whose hands have been in the heart of the river. Back at his compound, Odabi closed his gate before the dust of the square had settled. He checked the pot by her mat, still full, still shining. She looked up at him and knew. They are smelling the truth, she said. Let them smell, he snapped, fear hiding behind the anger. I will not give them meat with it. Her eyes softened. Fear and pride drink from the same calabash. Spit one out before you swallow both. He looked away. A tiny ripple crossed the water and touched the rim. He told himself it was the wind. That night he dreamed of drums. Not the celebration kind. The kind that call warriors to the field. He woke with sweat on his neck and the taste of iron in his mouth. The pot trembled again on the 8th night. Not from wind. From anger. She sat beside it, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes far away. You are restless, he muttered. I feel it, she replied softly. The river stirs. Men are watching. Their whispers are stones rolling downhill. Soon they will become an avalanche. He slammed the spear down. Let them talk. I saved you. I claimed you. They will not take what is mine. Her head turned slowly, eyes shining faint blue. You speak as if a god can be owned. His jaw tightened. You swore an oath. And you think oaths do not bite the one who makes them? She asked. Her voice trembled with sadness more than anger. Hunter, every promise to a god is a chain. One day, you will pull it too hard. Odabi looked away, his chest heaving. Rain came 3 days early. Sheets of it, pounding roofs, drowning yam heaps, turning paths into rivers of mud. The people danced, praising the heavens, but the priest frowned. Too much blessing is warning, he said. On the 4th morning, as Odabi walked her back to the river, they found Ojo waiting by the path. His arms folded. His eyes sharp. So it is true, Ojo said. You carry a ghost at night. The river smiles because you have chained it. Odabi's hand tightened on his spear. Watch your tongue. But Ojo stepped closer, his breath hot with anger. We drank together, Oda B. We hunted side by side. And now you hide her from us. The gods do not give without taking. Tell the chief, or I will. The mermaid wife's hand touched Oda B's wrist lightly, a warning to hold still. But Oda B shook her off, pride burning. Say what you like. None will believe a drunk's tale. Ojo's eyes flashed. He spat on the ground and walked away. His shadow stretched long behind him, like a curse already in motion. It happened at the market square. Women selling yams, men haggling over goats, children running with dust on their feet. The air was thick with chatter when Ojo's voice rang out. People of the village. Hear me. He pointed toward Oda B, who stood frozen with a basket of palm nuts. This man, this hunter, has tied a goddess to his bed. He feeds on her blessing, but it is our river that pays the price. Heads turned. The chief's guard stiffened. The priest rose slowly, his staff tapping the earth. Oda B's chest tightened. His eyes flicked to the crowd, then to the faces hardening against him. Sweat ran down his back. He opened his mouth to deny it, but before words could form, a child shouted, I saw it. I saw him throw fish to the ants by his gate. Another child cried, and his wife, she never goes to the market. Her pot never empties. The square exploded with voices. Some fearful, some angry, all pointing at him. The priest raised his staff. His voice was low, but it carried like thunder. Hunter, bring her forth. Let us see the one you hide. Every eye burned into Oda B's skin. His breath caught. His hands trembled. In that moment, he knew the oath had come for him. He could lie. He could fight. Or he could break. The square held its breath. Oda B's heart hammered like a drum of war. Eyes, hundreds of them, burned into his skin. Bring her forth, the priest repeated, tapping his staff. Oda B's mouth opened. Words staggered out, cracked and raw. She is not ghost. She is my wife. Gasps cut through the crowd like spears. A wave of whispers rolled. Some crossed themselves. Some spat into the dust. Your wife, the chief's voice rose, sharp and disbelieving. From where? From what womb? Oda B swallowed hard. Pride wrestled with fear, and pride won. His voice shook the air. From the river. She is mine by oath. She is the one who feeds your calabashes. The one who keeps your children from thirst. I saved her. She belongs to me. The priest's face was stone. Hunter, he said, voice heavy with doom, you have yoked a god. That is no marriage. That is a curse. The crowd surged. Some shouted, abomination. Others shouted, blasphemy. Stones rattled in hands, though none yet flew. Then a voice sliced through the noise, his new wife, the second one, swollen with child, stepping into the circle. Her wrapper clung to her belly, her eyes wild with pain and anger. He shames us, she screamed. He eats in the bed of a fish. And now my child cannot be born. He curses me with barrenness while holding a demon in his hut. The crowd roared. I gave you everything, he shouted back, his voice cracking. I killed game for you. I brought fish when your belly cried for it. The mermaid wife appeared then, at the edge of the square, her veil thrown back, her skin gleaming faintly like water under moonlight. The sight froze the crowd into silence. Her pot of water sat balanced on her head, unspilled. She looked at him, not the crowd, not the priest, not the chief, only him. Her voice was calm, too calm. You broke the oath, Odabi. You fed fish to your home. You mocked me for what I am. You cracked the vessel that kept the river whole. His mouth frothed with desperation. Because of her. He pointed at the second wife. Because she demanded it. A man must give his heir what she craves. The mermaid's eyes clouded, the blue gone black. You chose bloodline over oath. Pride over truth. Now the river will choose itself. The pot on her head shook, though no hand touched it. Cracks ran down its side, water spilling like veins of light. The crowd gasped as the ground at their feet began to tremble. The priest dropped to his knees, face in his hands. It is undone, he wailed. The river withdraws. A sound rose, not thunder, not wind. The sound of a river groaning. The square split as people scattered, mothers dragging children, men tripping over goats, panic swallowing them whole. Odabi stumbled forward, reaching for her. No. Do not leave me. You swore, you swore. Her eyes shone with grief. I swore. And I gave. But you asked for what should never be touched. Now all must drink dust. The pot shattered. Water burst out, then vanished into the ground as if swallowed by fire. The earth cracked, dry in an instant. Screams rang as villagers clutched empty gourds, their faces twisted in horror. The mermaid's body dissolved into streams of water, rushing back toward the forest. Odabi lunged, arms outstretched, but his hands closed on air. The priest's staff struck the ground. Banish him. He has doomed us. Hands grabbed Odabi, dragging him, beating him, tearing his wrapper. His second wife clutched her swollen belly, screaming curses at him, her eyes filled with hatred. They pushed him through the gate of the village, into the dust of the road. Behind him, the riverbed cracked wider, dry as bone. Women wailed. Men cursed. Children sobbed. He looked back one last time. His compound, once proud, stood empty. His name, once sung, was spat like poison. And so Odabi, the hunter, became a shadow wandering from village to village, carrying thirst on his back. The river never returned. The people never forgave. And his bloodline withered before it could take root. They say at night, if you walk by the dry bed of that river, you will hear his voice, pleading, cursing, weeping. Not for riches. Not for sons. For the wife he chained, and the oath he shattered. Remember this, some wishes are prisons. Some promises are knives. And greed, once fed, will drink not just from your calabash, but from your children's, and your children's children, until all is dust. Love isn't a trophy. It's a trust. The day you grip it like property, the river inside someone dries. Sit with that. If this story pressed on you, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next drumbeat. Comment one boundary you refuse to cross for love. Share this with a friend who needs the reminder, love is care, not chains. What lesson have you learnt? Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments box.